to another video. I've actually put this one off for quite a while because I've not felt all that comfortable about talking about it out of fear of sounding like a bit of a dick. But ask and you shall receive. I've been getting very frequent questions on this since I put out my home gym series with Black Box. Every time I put up an Instagram questions box, I get asked 2 or 3 times. So I thought, you know what? If the people want it, I shall give it to them. So what I'm going to do is go through cost by cost off my phone. I'm not being rude. I just don't have the ability to retain information like Matt Damon does in Good Will Hunting. So I'm going to check with this as we go rather than just checking my phone as I film the video. That would be ridiculous. But before we crack on, a couple things it's important to mention. Number one, this is part of how I make a living, so I've invested in this as part of my sort of day-to-day existence, my plans for the future, and as part of what I get up to on a day-to-day work basis. So I'm not saying that everybody should have this in their home or that this is what you should necessarily aspire to, because it's all dependent on your circumstances, and my circumstances mean that this is what I've gone for. Secondly, everything from Black Box I have paid for at a severely reduced rate as they support me as an athlete. So huge thank you to them for all their support with this project from start to finish. But again, important to mention that I would not have been able to afford the gym as is without their support. I now have 2 requests for you as well, and that is, if at any stage you are enjoying this video, please make sure that you've given it a like. And if you are new to the channel, or you've been watching and haven't yet subscribed, what's that all about? And please make sure you do so down below. Right, consult's phone. I'm going to start from the top, and first thing to mention is that when we moved into the house there was a 61 centimetre discrepancy from the top to the bottom that we had to level for safety, because I don't know if anyone's ever tried to squat at a sideways angle, but it probably isn't very good for your hips, and I can't imagine it feels all that great. So I thought, you know what, I should probably level the floor, and that's exactly what I did, and it cost me £640. That was made up of the raw material cost, which was a self-leveling compound, which had some microfibers in it. I don't know, I had something in it that made it special. And then the labour for that was included in that overall cost, and it was actually a friend of mine's dad that did that. So they were very, very helpful, and I kind of stood on the sidelines and watched rather than doing anything particularly useful. So, quick disclaimer there. Then once the floor was levelled, that basically took a full day's work and it levelled overnight. There was horse matting to go in, which I bought from a friend because he had a surplus. I got it all for £200, and I think had I bought it direct from supplier on the internet, it would have cost more than that, and it's quite hard to come by now because I think the pandemic means that horse matting has become a hot commodity. Whether that's for horses or whether it's for people like me, I do not know. Nonetheless, I've got my own, I've made it very dirty and it's near impossible to clean, but it cost me £200. Painted for the walls, these walls were originally white, painted them black, and that was about £50, just a sort of B&Q job. Went for a matte black finish, and in honesty, I wish I'd spent a little bit more on it because it marks quite easily and it didn't stick to the primer all that well. Lesson learned. The vinyls cost £85 and they were from a company in the UK called Wall Boss. Service was great, I'd recommend them. Got them for the office upstairs from them as well, so if anyone wants to check out Wall Vinyls, Wall Boss are the guys. The light and fitting of said light was £185. That is just an LED batten light, 6,000 lumens, and I think it's cool or bright white. It's the one that's less yellow and more white, basically, whichever one that is. I had a lot of people on Instagram give me some really valid advice on the electrical side of things, all saying, oh, just do it yourself. I have no idea what I'm doing with electrics, so paid out on that one. Sorry everyone. So that's basically the cosmetic and sort of foundational costs, I guess, before we actually put any equipment in. So I'm going to start with the main feature of the gym, which is the binary folding rack, and this is valued at £480. Plus £108 for the spotting arms, and as this is a home gym, as it is only me and Erin that live here, I don't have a harem of training partners here to spot me. I thought I'd go for the spotting arms as well. Binary racks being an absolute godsend, being able to fold it away and use that space has been so useful, because it means that Erin and I can train in here at the same time, which we haven't been doing all that often, to be honest, but it's a nice thing to do, and it can just open up the space a little bit more, because whilst it's small and functional, yes, it does feel a bit cramped sometimes, so putting this on the wall has been very useful. Flat bench that I'm sitting on right now was £127, and this is sort of competition style, so the right height, the right width, so I can really dig my scaps into it when I'm benching as I would be in a powerlifting competition. Not that I do many of them anymore, but you know what? A man can dream. Then I've got an adjustable utility bench as well, and the reason I got both of them rather than just an adjustable bench is because the bench from Black Box doesn't have the sort of fat pad at the top of it. It tapers in a little bit. So I wanted to maintain that competition style bench just because I find benching so much more comfortable and easier to execute technique properly with a proper bench. So for any incline or decline work, I've got the adjustable bench. For any upright work as well, I've got that. But for any proper bench pressing or dumbbell pressing, I will use the flat bench. And the adjustable bench was 360 pounds. I have dumbbells from 10 kilos to 40 kilos going up in increments of 5, and the total cost of them was at 924 pounds. Would I go any heavier? Maybe. How much use will I get out of the 50s for the value of them? Probably not that much. So 40s are as heavy as I need to go in the meantime. Maybe add some 45s and 50s in the future, but there's no rush on that at all. I've got kettlebells from 16 to 32 kilos, so 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, and those were 280 pounds. The base camp storage that it's all on was 440 pounds, and that thing's been an absolute godsend. It's very space effective, very easy to use, and it can take a beating because I have awkwardly lost grip of a couple of kettlebells a few inches higher than I would have liked to on that thing, and it's put up a good fight, so would recommend. In terms of barbells, I've got the Black Box Belfast bar, which is valued at £300. That's what I've been doing most of my lifting on. But I do have a Black Box Power Bar prototype on the way, which is very exciting. I'll be doing a review on that soon, and that is valued at £200. As well as that, I have the best deadlift bar on the planet, no questions asked. A Texas deadlift bar, which is £600. I've actually had that for about 5 or 6 years. I bought it whilst I was in second year at university and sort of training a decent level of powerlifting and wanted my training to be more specific. So that's come all over the country with me, and it's finally found its permanent home here. But for anyone that's used one, you'll know how much more pleasant it is to pull on. The jury's still out on how much it actually benefits your deadlift, depending on leverages, depending on deadlift style, etc. But for me, I just like pulling on it more. And this is my house, my rules, so I'm going to use one. Also have a safety squat bar, which is valued at £155, and I think is a fantastic assistance movement for squats and deadlifts. Pause safety bar squats I have found to be an incredibly effective exercise for my deadlift personally, which is great, so I've got one of them. Annoyingly, I was going to hang that off the wall, but when we got to the wall I was going to hang it off, it turned out it was a really sort of weak stone, so it's too heavy to hang there, so it just kicks about on the floor, not being that space effective, but far from the end of the world. In terms of weight, I've got 250 kilos of bumpers from Black Box, which are made up of 10 20 kilo plates, 2 10 kilo plates, 2 5 kilo plates, totaling 250 and valued at £583. Then I've got 2 2.5s and 2 1.25 valued at £97. Then a 30 kilo and a 50 kilo D-ball just for some Metcon style stuff, which I got for £169. And then a set of collars for £25. The barbell hanger that the deadlift bar and the Belfast bar are hanging off was £30. I've got a dip station attachment which was £96 and has been really useful again for that sort of Metcon conditioning, general just strength endurance stuff that I've been doing recently. It's been great for that. Got the plate storage, 4 of them on either side of the rack. Bottoms hold just 20s and the tops hold a 20, a 10, a 5 and the change plates plus the collars, and those were £168 all in. Landmine attachment, £60, and a pallet to deliver it over from Belfast was £204. So that just about covers everything in this side of the gym. And in honesty, the space is so functional at this point, I absolutely love it. It's been so useful for me in terms of setting up the businesses recently, having really stressful time periods and doing my training at all weird and wonderful times of the day where the last thing I want to do is get in the car, drive half an hour to a good gym and get a bit of an environment I want to train in. Knowing I can just switch on and get it done in here has been an absolute godsend, and for future planning, for future content, for future stuff in general, this is something I'm very proud and very excited to have. So I should probably thank you all at this point, because your support on Instagram, your support of my charity endeavours over the past, and more recently the sort of growing YouTube community that's coming here has been amazing and has helped me source this. So thank you very much. Moving on to the Pain Cave, which is the more endurance focused side of things. The Turbo Trainer is a Wahoo kicker, and that was £1,000. And for those that don't know, that specific turbo trainer syncs with training applications like the Sufferfest and Zwift. I use both of them, which means that it basically lines up with the software at their end to give you a cycling workout that mimics real riding a lot more. So it means you can be a lot more effective with indoor training, whether it's in winter or whether it's as part of an interval session, because it's quite hard to do intervals out on the road. You don't know whether there's going to be cars, there's traffic lights, etc. So real focused interval work, I'm doing that all on the turbo trainer. And then the bike, I don't know whether I should count this, but that is a Ribble Ultra Tri, and that was £2,250. I've had that bike for 2 years now, I think, and it's actually on its way out the door very soon, which is exciting, but you'll see more on exactly why that is soon enough. So the total of the bike setup is £3,250, but I've already accounted for that. The treadmill we got for 150 quid off Gumtree at the start of the winter when you could barely even walk outside without slipping and dying. So that was a good investment briefly. I haven't got much use out of it since then because I don't like running on a treadmill and it doesn't go any quicker than 6-minute miles. So that's predominantly for airing, to be honest. I'll use it in the winter for steady runs when it rolls back around, but for the time being, it's just kind of sitting there as part of the brick room as it has become known. So all in all, that total comes to £9,966, which is an eye-watering amount of money, I know, but it's important to mention again at this point that this is one, part of how I make a living, two, I've not paid full price for this as I've had some amazing support as an athlete for Black Box, so huge thank you again to them. I would urge you guys to go out and check their website. They've got a huge range of equipment, and actually there's a wireless digital timer up there which they just sent me, which is also fantastic. I don't know what that retails for, but that's another bell and whistle that I forgot to mention. So huge thank you to them. Please do check them out. If you use the code Fergus, you can get 10% off at checkout. I think the only thing left to mention is that if you have enjoyed this video, please make sure that you've given it a like and that you have subscribed down below. Other than that, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing, keep sharing content from this wonderful little setup I've got, and I will see you next time.